You don't have to go anywhere. Okay. We've eaten. I feel a little bit better, actually. There was something I just said that I don't agree with in one of the videos that I just recorded. And large parts of me didn't, I don't know if I want to say all of me. It felt off as I said it to a lot of me. And like, I can't actually fucking remember what I said right now. Both of those things really indicate to me that I do still switch within parts of me. But I feel like we've gotten closer, that I notice it happen. Because, like, maybe it happened before and I just literally was unaware of it. Because the thing about amnesia is that I found if I have, like, full blackout amnesia, I'm amnesic of the amnesia. So, like, I don't notice that I'm missing anything, because how the fuck do you know what you're not aware of, you know? Whereas now we've done so much work and we're doing so much work to build communication and integrate between me, that I feel like I'm starting to notice more. I can kind of, I remember kind of what it was on. Like, I get the impression that something I said implied that, oh, there we go, said, like, I know that people probably do malinger about, like, I don't. I don't know. I don't know anything about the statistics or the. Um, I know that lots of people say that people fake the disorder, and people, at some point or another, a small percentage of people probably fake anything at some point, but I don't believe it's like a big proportion of people from what I have learned. And I'm not an expert on it, but like, my opinion personally is that it's more damaging to fake claim than to not. And like, I don't know what someone's fucking experience is. So like, if somebody has looked at the experiences of other systems and looked at their own experience and they fucking live with it, then why would I doubt or disagree with their self-diagnosis? That seems completely fucking valid to me, because like, we're careful with the language we use because we're not diagnosed and I don't know. And we still talk about whether or not diagnosis is actually something we want. I think we're leaning more towards yes than no these days. But it's a it's a fucking classist issue anyway, because it is really fucking hard to access the sort of tools that you need to be diagnosed. Like, you need to be able to be assessed by professionals that actually understand the disorder and to get the correct diagnosis, because it can look like a lot of other different things if people are not trained well enough to spot the other different things and it's like, you really need somebody who specializes in this, and there's not a lot of people, and also money. So it's a really big problem of accessibility, which is why we're not currently diagnosed. That and heaps of medical trauma, which means that we really fucking don't like engaging with the medical world or medical professionals, to put it very mildly. It's incredibly re-traumatizing. We spent like over a decade going back and forth to the doctors with just fucking horrendous various shit. And it makes it really hard to pursue things like diagnosis. There's probably a lot of things that we could do with being diagnosed that are not. So I got the impression from whatever I said that I don't remember, that I was sounding like I believe people fake this disorder a lot, or disagreeing with self-diagnosis, and those aren't my beliefs. Like, I don't think anyone in here holds those as beliefs. I think we're closer to thinking the opposite than that. Like, I feel like it's more likely that people who think they have DID from having researched it and looked at experiences and lived with it, and when they've come to a point of self-diagnosis when they're like, yeah, I have experienced this and I have looked into it and I believe my symptoms line up with this experience, I think that's valid, and I'm like pretty likely. It's not even like pretty likely. I don't see why I would question it. Like, yeah, I'm going to take someone at their word, and especially when it comes to their own experience. in the very, very tiny percentage chance that somebody maybe fakes it and lies about it, I think it does less harm to believe them at their word and then later be surprised than it does to fake claim other systems, when denial is such a massive part of the disorder anyway, and being misunderstood and unseen and like misperceived in our motives and intentions and who we are, to the point of being traumatized by our family of origin and the people around us, is probably a large part for everyone. Like, it just makes no fucking sense to me to fake claim, because why would I think I know someone's experience better than they've experienced it and better than they know it? And as for people malingering and faking, I keep hearing from people who study in the field that it does happen. But I haven't done any research into it myself, and I don't know anything about it, and I don't know, like, what the percentage is. But I know that for other things I've come across, there's been, like, I can't fucking even remember what, but I know that it was dubious. Some part of me has some, like, vague distant information remembering coming across the thing that, like, malingering and faking this other disorder does happen, but it's such a small percentage that it's, like, so much more likely that somebody will be telling the truth. And I guess I'm applying that here, and then thinking about our experiences as well, where, like, it's hard to miss that you share a body with a bunch of other people, that you blank time, that you have, like, shit tons of CPTSD and dissociative symptoms. Every fucking minute of every fucking day is spent trying to survive these things and function together. So, like, it's not ambiguous when you live it, when you can see it. Because at the same time, the hosting parts of me have spent a whole lifetime, like, blanked from any of this, and very able to convince myself that I don't have any trauma at all or anything wrong with me, and being, like, unable to see the symptoms for what they really are, to the point where, like, I remember mostly whenever Vince spoke, the hosting parts of me, actually it's still too complex for a broad statement, in a lot of parts of him, a lot of hosting parts of me would not notice him being around. Like, we would completely have no idea and blank. And I remember one time, probably quite soon, quite recent, we must have been building communication, because it was when I came out as trans in that part of me, before detransitioning, if you can really call it that. So I think we just started testosterone. We'd at the very least just started to socially transition. And I feel like that kind of bridged some of the gap between us. And it was very soon after that that I discovered that I was part of a system in that part of me. Then went dormant for a while, because that was, like, a bit much. But there was a time where Vince literally spoke while I was speaking, and I heard it. And in this dream-like, detached way, I was like, wow, my voice just came out with, like, a thick Luton accent. That's weird, and carried on with my sentence and completely forgot that that had happened. So it's like, the denial is a thing, and I've lost track of where this video started, but I think I hit the point. It's very like this at the minute. Like, I'm not complaining. Things are a lot more intense at the minute. Blanking my sentences a lot more often. I'm experiencing a lot more amnesia. I'm experiencing a lot more symptoms. I'm in freeze a lot of the time, and when I'm not, I'm very fucking hypervigilant. Or thrown into flashbacks, and then I can't remember where I've spent half my time, because I can't remember the fucking flashbacks. It's really hard to journal, even though I need that to log what's happening. And it's kind of freaking me out a bit that I can just blank so much of what's happening and what I'm saying. We have a webinar in an hour about the basic neuroscience of complex PTSD. I think that's it. And Con is really excited. Some parts of me, like a few of us, are really quite excited. Looking forward to it. I got the handout links. Cool. 7 p.m. Yes. Okay. I have an electronic handout to download and a link to the webinar. I'm just going to check that my computer works. Like that we're signed in and shit, because that would be terrible. Maybe test the computer audio. It works. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna leave that open in a different tab, to be honest. I feel really fucking frustrated, to be honest, at how confusing everything is at the minute, and I want to cry a lot. And I just feel like so frustrated as to like, why can't I just feel present more of the time and like do things and exist and feel more expansively like myself. Kind of, you know, it's really weird. I feel like I had an experience where I felt more connected to parts of myself and more whole. And I'm so scared that I'm like, I've lost some of that. I don't know if I have. I can't tell if I've gotten less connected with parts of myself and that's why everything's more intense, or if I've gotten more connected with parts of myself and that's why everything's more intense. But I feel kind of invisible to myself, and there's a lot going on. I got the handout though, and I'm preparing for this, and maybe I will get like slightly more idea of what the fuck is going on. Basic neuroscience of complex post-traumatic stress disorder.